And we are back again. Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another live stream. Today we are going to talk about the current price of Bitcoin, the entire cryptocurrency market. We'll talk about the expectation. My expectation is that we are going to see a big move in the next 10 to 15 days, and that is going to lead us to a massive crash in the price of BTC. That should be the title of today's live stream. So, once again, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing last day of 2025. In the next couple hours, we are going to welcome 2026. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. If this is your first time right here, just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and if you have any altcoin that you would like me to talk about, put them in the chat. If you have any altcoin that you would like me to analyze, put them in the chat. So, I don't want to waste time. I want to jump straight to the point. I do want to talk about this market, but it's been a while though. The last time I live streamed was about hit the like button, guys. The last time a live stream was about, I think, 3 days ago. Yeah, 3 days ago was the last time a live stream. So, just in case you are wondering, why haven't a live stream? Simply, guys, nothing was there to talk about. Even right now, there's not much to talk about. Well, actually, no, there's something to talk about today. But the last couple of days, there was really nothing to talk about. I was looking at BTC. I was looking at altcoins, and I just felt like there was not there was not much to talk about, no new information, and I just didn't want to repeat. I just didn't want to repeat the same stuff that I talked about, already. If you look at the chart of Bitcoin, we have been going sideways. If you look at BTC, the price has been going sideways. Try to break above 90,000, get rejected, come back to $85,000. Try to break above $90,000 again, get rejected, come back to just same stuff over and over, man. But anyways, today should be, something to actually talk about because we finally have a breakout. So I'm not gonna waste time. I'm gonna jump straight to the charts, and I'm gonna start with BTC. All right, so let's get it. Let's get it. Bitcoin has finally broken out of this downtrend. Bitcoin has finally broken out of this downtrend, and I think we are going to see a very big move in the next 10 to 15 days. Okay? Within the next 10 to 15 days, I think we are going to see a very big move that will push the price of Bitcoin to around $96,000. So let's talk about it. Over the last couple of days, Bitcoin has been going sideways. We have been going sideways over the last couple of days. The price of Bitcoin has been getting support every time we came down in the low $80,000 range, and we have been getting rejected every time price was around $90,000. So right now we have a very clear range. This is your support right here. All right, we have some higher lows, and this is your resistance right here. We have some higher highs. I'm looking at BTC, and I am very impressed with the fact that we have managed to break above this trend line right here. So this trend line has been acting as a resistance. This goes back from $126,000. We have finally managed to break out To me, this is very good. So if I'm looking at BTC right now, I am thinking that we more likely have a move that will push the price of Bitcoin to retest this resistance right here. And right here, we're looking at around $96,000. As long as the price of Bitcoin stays above this yellow line that is acting as a support. Right now we are talking about $86,000. Right. Long as the price of Bitcoin stays above $86,000, I think we're looking at a move that will push the price of BTC to around $96,000. The longer this goes on, if we do go up, we may be looking at 97 or 98,000 because, as you can see, the longer we go sideways, the bigger the target. All right, if we do go up to retest the resistance. If you ask me, all right, how long is this going to take? I think we're looking at about the next 10 to 15 days. And the reason I'm looking at the next 10 to 15 days is because if you go from the low of this drop right here, 80,000, until the top, all right, until we retest the top right here, you're looking at about 12 days right here. All right, it took about 12 days to go from 80,000. And if we extend it like this, you're looking at about 18 days. So my guess is that between 10 to 15 days, or maybe 10 to 20 days, or maybe 10 to 18 days, BTC is more likely to be around $96,000, $98,000. Once again, look, if this goes on for a little bit longer, if we range for a little bit longer, then we could potentially go to $97,000, $98,000. But if we start the move right now, let's say 2 days from now we start the move, I think you're looking at $96,000. Now, this is not going to be a bullish retest. Maybe this is a conversation that we need to have. Well, actually, yeah, I do want to talk about this. This is not going to be a bullish retest. This is actually a bearish consolidation right here, guys. This is actually a bearish consolidation, and you can actually say that this is a bear flag right here. So if you look at a bear flag, it looks exactly. This is what a bear flag pattern looks like, chat. Look, it looks exactly like this. So I am looking at BTC right now, and I believe that the current consolidation is a bear flag. And once this bear flag is completed and we get a pullback and we lose, the current support right here, we're looking at a BTC that is going to drop. Personally, I'm looking at minimum a 20% drop from the highs of, from the highs of this rally or from the rejection. So if you go from like $96,000, $97,000, if we go down about 20%, child, you're looking at you're looking at $74,000. But we could potentially go lower, man. Yeah, we could potentially go lower. But anyways, in the short term, I am looking at a Bitcoin that is more likely going up to around $96,000, $98,000. But this is not a bullish retest. This is a bear flag. If I'm looking at the characteristic of this pattern right here, like to me, this looks like a bear flag right here. Once we get rejected, if we come back and we lose the support right here, I'm looking at a drop down into $74,000. So you want to make sure that you keep your eyes on BTC over the next couple of days. Now, let's talk about $96,000. If you go to the weekly, right? If you go to the weekly and you pull up the 50 weekly moving average and you also pull up the 21 weekly moving average, The 50 weekly moving average is currently around $97,000. The 21 weekly moving average, it is currently around $99,000. In a downtrend or in a bear market, price normally comes back to retest these EMAs right here, guys. If you go back to the last bear market, all right, after the bear market was confirmed, price came back and retested the 21 weekly moving average. So in my opinion, if we do get this weekly rally and we go to retest the 21 weekly moving average, by the time Bitcoin gets to the 21 weekly could potentially be around 96, 98, $97,000, somewhere around there. If we don't retest the 21 weekly moving average and we only retest the 50 weekly moving average, the 50 weekly could potentially be around $96,000. It is currently around $97,000. Remember, these are moving averages. So by the time price gets closer to them or price retests them, they are not going to be exactly where they are right now. Not only that, if you look at the moving average, the 21 and the 50, very soon, guys, it looks like we are going to get a death cross. In the past, we've spoken about these death crosses right here, guys. All right. Sometimes you can get a fake out, but you don't normally get too many fake outs on the weekly. The last time we had a death cross on the weekly time frame, you got to go all the way back to April of 2022, when the price of Bitcoin was around $42,000, and we were in a bear market in early 2022, April 2022. So this to me looks like at some point in the near future, we are going to have a death cross where the 21 weekly moving average crosses below the 50 weekly moving average, and that it is not good for the bulls, right? That is not what a bull market looks like. In a bull market, your short-term moving average does not trend below your long-term moving average. Your 21 moving average is not going to trend below your 50 weekly moving average if we are still in a bull market, and if you still believe that we are still in a bull market. Now, maybe that could potentially be a fake out, because sometimes these can be fake outs, and I can show you guys multiple examples. So if we come back to, I don't know. You don't normally get these fake outs right here. Yeah, if you come back to April of 2020, we were in a bull market. We had a fake out right here. This was a death cross, but it turned out to be a fake out. So maybe, all right, the one we get sometimes in the next couple weeks is going to be a fake out, but I don't think so. All right. Look, the makeup of this, the characteristic, the fact that we have already lost, a major resistance around $98,000 on the weekly, to me, it doesn't look like this is going to be a fake out. It looks like this death cross is going to be real. And once again, in a bull market, your short-term moving average doesn't trend below your long-term moving average. It doesn't work that way, guys. This blue line, this 21 weekly moving average, got to be above the 50 in a bull market. If it's in a bear market, your short-term moving average are below your long-term moving average. But anyways, this is new information right here. And I wanted to make sure that the next time I live stream, I wanted to make sure I bring something to you. So that way, I'm not just repeating myself over and over again. And this is a brand new information, guys. To me, this looks like a bear flag. It looks like the price of Bitcoin is at a place where we are more likely to get a positive move, go to around $96,000, $98,000. Look, my guess is that we get rejected, and then we get a pullback. And then I don't know if, within that pullback, we're going to lose the support right here, or if we might get a bounce and then lose the support. And then I think you're looking at a Bitcoin that trades, somewhere around $74,000 we could potentially lose $74,000. But that is a different conversation. I'm not there yet. Right now, I just want to focus on what we have right now. And in terms of a death cross, guys, look, here is one right here. We had a death cross on the daily. This was in October. All right, this is just recently, guys. Price of BTC was around $114,000. We had a retest after the death cross. Go from $103,000 back to 116. But guess what? The death cross was real right here. So we go from 116 and we are currently, looking at a Bitcoin in the $80,000 range. So this entire picture right here, guys, is exactly what that weekly setup could potentially look like over the next couple months. Now, this is a weekly time frame. So this is going to take months. If you go back to the last time we had a death cross, that was in early April of 2022. All right. And we went from April 2022 until June 2023. June 2023, we finally had a golden cross. And once again, this right here may sound simple, all right, basic, but guess what, guys? Investment is all about keeping things basic. It is all about keeping things very simple. And now try to complicate things. And I'm looking at this right here. And I'm telling you right now, I do not look. I like what I see in the short term, because price going from 80,000 to 96 is definitely positive. But after that, it looks scary. I gotta be very honest with you. This looks super, 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 super scary. And if you have altcoins, if Bitcoin is entering a large drop on the weekly time frame, your altcoins, get out as quickly as you can. Run away from altcoins as quickly as you can. None of these altcoins are going to survive what's coming. None of these altcoins are going to survive what's coming. And if you don't believe me, just go back to April 2022. See where your altcoins were trading. And once Bitcoin lost those major support on the weekly and price started dropping, see what happened to your altcoins. Right? If you don't believe me, just look. All you got to do is back test. Go back to April of 2022. Look at your altcoins from April of 2022 until the price of Bitcoin finally bottomed and then started establishing the new bull market, and see what your altcoins were doing. See where they were trading, how they were trading, and if they were generating any meaningful returns, and if it was a good time to buy them or a good time to hold them. And you decide what to do with your altcoin portfolio. But this is not a good looking chart right here, guys. I'm telling you right now, chat. This is not looking good. It is positive that we have broken out of this daily downtrend. All right, we haven't broken, some bearish structures and, set up a bullish continuation or anything like that. It's just, we're broken out. We might get a move into the higher $90,000 range. And after that, it is over. And let me be very honest with you. You are going to see a lot of celebrations once the price of Bitcoin managed to get above $95,000. You are going to see celebrations right here, guys. People are going to talk about how BTC is about to go back to, $107,000, 120 new all-time highs. And the reason is because once we break above $95,000, the bearish structure is going to be broken. But I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a fake out right here. All right? Once we get above this 95,000, this is going to be the trap right here, guys. This is the trap that is going to have all the moon boys All right, start looking at higher targets only to end up with a massive pullback, lose, the current support right here, and sending the price of Bitcoin in the low $70,000 range. The only way I'm going to be invalidated, the only way my analysis is going to be invalidated is if price of Bitcoin managed to do something like this on the daily. We go up, we break above $95,000, we get a pullback, and then we stay above this $84,000 support. If we get something like this, my bearish outlook is invalidated, and I'm going to be a bull once again, and I'm going to start talking about BTC potentially going back to $126,000. But until then, I am not convinced, and I'm still extremely bearish on this market. Look, I don't care what anybody says. I'm still extremely bearish on this market. If we zoom out just a little bit and we go to the weekly and we look at BTC from, different lens maybe. Let me get rid of all of this. If we look at the Bollinger Bands, look, the only way for me to say BTC is back in a sustainable bullish uptrend, chat, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, look, this is mad. Based on the Bollinger Bands, we got to get above $103,000 and we got to stay above $103,000 because every time the price of Bitcoin is below this blue line right here, which this is the 20 moving average, 20 weekly right now, moving average, anywhere below this blue line, guys, is extremely bearish. Look, this was bearish. We didn't turn bullish until we got back. This was bearish right here. Didn't turn bullish until we got back up here. All right. This was bearish right here. Look, this entire time, BTC was bearish right here, guys. Look at this right here. And I think this is where we are right now. I just think we are early. All right. I think that's exactly where we are. So what we're about to get right now is basically this move right here. We're about to get this move right here, or maybe this one right here. But more likely, we're about to get this move. So if you come back right here, guys, all right, you're looking at the blue line right here. This is around, $103,000. Once again, this is a moving average. So maybe by the time, we get closer to this 20 moving average, the 20 moving average is probably going to be somewhere around $96,000, $97,000. Right now, it's at $103,000, but we're not making a contact right now. This is going to take some time. You're looking at weeks from now, guys. Look, this is an entire week. There's going to be another one. Maybe this, this one right here is just right here, and then we get rejected, and then we actually don't hit, the trend line. Maybe the 20 moving average will be somewhere around 100,000 by the time we get there, and then we get rejected. And because this is a moving average, after we already got rejected and price is already down in the $80,000 range again, or somewhere in the low $90,000, the moving average comes and touches the price. All right. That might be how this one works. But anyways, look, don't really know how this is all going to play out, but the makeup of this entire structure, the makeup of everything that has to do with BTC right now, guys, at least price action go, based on price action, it's just not positive. If anybody says it is positive, I don't know what to tell them. All right. I really, really don't know what to tell them. And again, this right here is very basic, but investing, trading should be exactly that. It shouldn't have to be complicated. I shouldn't have to pull up, 20 different moving averages. I shouldn't have to pull up 20 different, trend lines and, patterns. It should be straightforward, not complicated. And this is exactly what I see the more I look at the chart of Bitcoin. So I know that was a bit of a longer breakdown on the price of Bitcoin and what is actually happening, but somebody's got to do it, chat. Someone's got to do it, and I think I gotta do it. All right, I gotta do it. Why not just do it? Why not just talk about the obvious? The last couple of days, I wanted to live stream. The last couple of days, I wanted to talk about this market. The more I look at the chart of BTC, the more I look at Bitcoin, there wasn't really anything to talk about. I was looking at it, I was looking at altcoins, and I'm saying to myself, okay, I'm just going to repeat myself. I'm just going to say exactly what I said, the last couple weeks now, if you think about it. The last couple weeks, I'm basically going to say exactly the same thing. Now, finally, we broke out. Finally, with more data, the pattern is more obvious. It's a bear flag. That's exactly what we have right now. So, my prediction is that 10, 20 days from now, we should see a move into the higher $90,000 range. That is not a bullish move. That is a move that will provide the opportunity to exit the market. Like, honestly, get out of the market, because what comes after, it is going to be brutal. It's going to be a long winter. This is not going to be fun. I think for some of us, we might be looking at this market and we're not really prepared for what's coming, but it's not looking good. The more you look at it, it really, really is not looking good. So let me jump into altcoins. And speaking of altcoins, if Bitcoin is going to be bullish in the short term, that is a reason to be bullish on altcoins in the short term. Yes, price hasn't really done much, but once again, look at the structure. What is happening? And right now, low volatility, but guys, it's a holiday season. I'm sure not many people are trading right now. All right. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Just give me a second. Let me reestablish myself right here. Oh my gosh, man. What is going on right now? Look, Aerodrome Finance. Oh my God, this is brutal. Look at Sui. I'm still very positive on across the entire altcoin market, though, despite this right here. The bullish divergency still right here. Bullish divergency. So yeah. All right, let me do this. So the altcoin market, big drop right now, but to me, this doesn't really change my bullish outlook in the short term. My belief is that we are looking at an altcoin market that is more likely to go up in the short term, but you have to be patient. So if I'm looking at Aerodrome Finance once again, now this one doesn't look good though. Like, I'm looking at some bullish divergencies. I really don't see them. Okay, maybe right here. Okay, right here on the MACD. Okay, this looks really good, but this might take some time a little bit. All right, definitely some bullish divergency right here, guys. So if I'm looking at Aerodrome Finance, I am not doing anything with this one until price, breaks out right here. So if we can break out, then I think you could be looking at a project that comes all the way back to retest around 70, like right here, 73, 70 cents, right? So this is the target right there for me. If I go to the weekly, all right, and I look at, okay, where are my moving averages? The 21 weekly right now is around 76, excuse me if I say 90, 76 cents, all right? So 21 weekly moving average at 76 cents. Okay, that to me looks very good. If you are jumping into a position right now, look, I can't blame you, to be honest. I don't think we go below like 30. I don't think we go below. Let me be conservative. I don't think we go below 36 cents. All right. I'm just looking at this, and I think somewhere around here, the bottom comes in, and then price should start going up. If we go to the 4-hour time frame, if you take these lows right here, you connect it to this right here, it gives you like a really nice trend line that should act as a support. So maybe somewhere around 38 cents, we might get a bounce and then, price goes up again. If we go below, what did I say, 36, then what that means to me would be that, you're looking at a project that's more likely to retest around 28 cents. And to me, that would not be a position that I want to be in if I have a position right here. Probably just get out of that position and wait for, the true bottom. Jumping in right here doesn't really make any sense, and the risk is not worth it. In my opinion, waiting for a breakout is the way to approach this market. So if I was looking at Aerodrome Finance, I'm on the sideline. I'm waiting for something that looks like this. If I can get something that looks like this where there's a breakout, and then, maybe not on the daily, maybe you go to the 1 hour, all right? You get a breakout, and then you get a retest of that breakout. So something like that, I think that's a safer time to jump into a position, put your stop loss just right below the most recent lows, and then, I wouldn't even wait until, the 70 cents range, to be very honest with you. A 20% move, I'm taking 90% of my profits, and maybe just leave that 10% just in case, price goes into the 70 cents range, 80 cents, somewhere around the dollar. Who knows, right? Like, who knows where we end up? But that would be my game plan if I was looking at Aerodrome Finance and I was looking to trade this one right here. SUI, nothing has changed. Yes, this is a big, maybe not big. This is a big drop right now. It is currently down about, honestly, not even bad to be honest. It's currently down about almost 3%. I'm looking at SUI, and I think if price can stay above $1.31, there's a very good chance we get a 60% move. Now, do you wait for the entire 60% move? I don't think so. I think if price goes anywhere around $2, you start taking your profits. If price is anywhere around $2, I believe you start taking profits. Now, once again, maybe not the entire position, maybe 80, 90%. And then you leave that 10% or 20%, just in case it goes higher. All right, that should be the way to approach this market. But yeah, SUI looks really good. Bullish divergency. Look at the RSI right here. Look at the MACD right here, guys. I think it is only a matter of time. We get some real volume that comes in, and then boom, price goes up to, the targets that we just talked about. So not really much to give you guys an update on in terms of SUI. The last one we also talked about was AVAX. Once again, look, if I'm looking at AVAX, to me, AVAX looks really good. Bullish divergency. All right. As long as price, stays above $11.30, I think price, you're still looking at a project that could potentially push up and retest $18. That's a really, really good move right here, guys. If we can go all the way up to $18. If you go to the weekly, man, and you look at this right here, I mean, it's a sad bull market, to be very honest. Look, even if you made a lot of money in this bull market, like, this is just, the state of the cryptocurrency market is just extremely, extremely depressing. And I honestly feel sorry for most investors who were 100% in altcoins. I mean, this is terrible right here, guys. Can you imagine? Look, I think the people that are lost in this bull market are long-term holders. Every long-term holder, and especially if you are still in positions, if you have refused to accept the reality and you still think an altcoin season is coming, I mean, honestly, I feel sorry for you, because I don't believe an altcoin season is coming. Like, I don't believe that anymore. Right now, I look at this market and I look at every single project individually. Forget about the collective. I look at every single project individually, and I don't believe in being a long-term holder in altcoins ever again. And when I say long-term holders, guys, like, I'm talking about, investing in these altcoins for the next 2 to 3 years. I don't believe in that stuff anymore. Right now, my belief when it comes to altcoins is that you look for a bullish setup. If you want to catch a big one, you go to the weekly or you go to the monthly, but you look for a bullish setup. You get in and you get out. Once it is over, it is over. Move on. So the losers, when it comes to this market, were altcoins long-term holders, like altcoins short-term traders, most of those guys, they made banks throughout this bull market. AVAX went from $8 to $65. If this was a trade, like, you made a lot of money from here. Maybe you jumped in around $20 and then you exited somewhere around 50. Look, this is a 200% move. And then you waited for this entire pullback to be over. You saw some bullish structures right here. And then you jumped back in around 35. And then you exit somewhere around $45. Notice I'm not going from the absolute bottom until the top, because trading doesn't work that way. You want to get in, once the trend has already established, and you want to exit before the top, right? Nobody's going to time exactly the bottom and exactly the top of the move. And let's say you waited. Maybe you jumped into a different project. At some point, Sui did a 5X. Guys, look, I traded this. I jumped in Sui somewhere around here, okay? And I exit somewhere around here, somewhere around $3. But I predicted that Sui was going to do a 500% move, going from the absolute lows of, no, not the absolute lows, going from around 75 cents. I just don't have the proof right now because I lost access to my to my YouTube, the one with around 10,000 subscribers. Like, I don't have that anymore. But short-term traders did very well. If you were a swing trader and you looked at Sui and you jumped in around 80 cents, 90 cents, and you exited around, $3, $4, like, you did very well. Only the long-term holders, and especially the ones who were based on their long-term holding on the 4-year cycle, which is something I absolutely believed in the past. I no longer believe in the 4-year cycle. I now believe in, hey, if the chart is bullish, I'm bullish. As soon as the chart turns bearish, I'm bearish. All right, that to me is my religious right now. But anyways, the losers have been long-term holders who believed in the 4-year cycle and believed in there is always going to be an altcoin season. You see these people all over social media even right now. Right? These are the same people that are still convincing themselves that there is going to be an altcoin season. Maybe there is going to be one. But the truth of the matter is, right now, in real time, right now, there is no altcoin season. Right? Sui... Yo, you're looking at Sui that's potentially going to 45 cents. You're looking at AVAC that's potentially going to $8, potentially lower. You're looking at Solana that's potentially going down to around $50. Right? If we are talking about these altcoins, going down another 50%, it's not a 50% drop in the next couple of weeks, guys. No, this is going to take months. And you have to remember, once the bottom is in, it's not right away you go back to all-time highs. No, there's a process in between. There's a bottom process. And that bottom process, when it comes to altcoins, you're looking at an entire 365 days. Some altcoins you're looking at 800 days. Like, they just, up and down in a range. And it's a big base that builds until you actually get a breakout. So it's not worth it. So, yeah, short term, I just think we are due for a rally because nothing goes down in a straight line. And if we do go down in a straight line, RIP to the altcoin market, RIP to the cryptocurrency market. Honestly, at this point, like, if we don't get a rally, like, at this point, what are we waiting for? And what market do we have? Like, it is RIP. So anyways, hopefully you guys are still with me. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button. And somebody asked me to look at those altcoins. All right, let me take a look at GRT, Near Protocol, GRT, Near Protocol, Jasmine, a few more tokens. All right, so yeah, just give me a second, chat. I'm gonna analyze those. I got about 10 minutes for you, and then I am all done. So let me look at those altcoins. And then I am all done. All right, let me see. All right, let's start with GRT. Yo, these coins, guys, get out. GRT, this is not good. This is not, listen, I wouldn't touch it. I would not touch this project. Lost, I mean, you know how bad this is? We lost the absolute lows of the bear market, guys. Like, we lost 5 cents. Basically, the bull market has been worse than the bear market. This is basically what this means. If I'm looking at GRT, I wouldn't even trade this thing. I wouldn't even trade it, to be honest. Even though we could potentially get a big move sometimes in the near future, I wouldn't even trade it because, there's much better tokens to trade out there with a much better looking setup. But if we do get some sort of a move, look, we'll probably come back and retest the 21 weekly, maybe a move back to around 5-6 cents. But personally, I wouldn't touch it. It's just my opinion, guys. This looks really, really bad. Jasmine, I wouldn't touch Jasmine. Excuse me. Jasmine, this looks really bad. I'm expecting Jasmine to come back right here. So Jasmine, once again, a weekly day cap bounce potentially brings us back to around 0.009. Like, I mean, these are big moves, though, if you actually think about it. Like, this is like a 70-80% move. I wouldn't touch it, though, because the risk is just not worth it, in my opinion. I mean, take a look at, basically, if you trade Jasmine, you are betting on something like this. You see this right here? 70% move. You see this right here? An entire 100% move. If you come back right here, this is a 156% move. That's basically what you're betting on. So I wouldn't touch it unless I see something where price bottoms here, goes up, comes back down, and then goes up again. So I'm jumping in right here, maybe a stop loss right here, maybe right here. But right now, it's just extremely risky. Personally, I wouldn't touch it. The thing is, when you look back and you see a move like this, you are thinking to yourself, oh, I got to get involved because I don't want to move. I don't want to miss a 70 to a 100% pump. But the truth is, not only are you going to miss this, you're going to lose money, actually, because this is extremely difficult to capture. Extremely, extremely difficult to capture. So, to me, I wouldn't do it, guys. What else? Near Protocol. Oh, I talked about that one. So Near Protocol actually looks better than the last, those other 3 altcoins. Look, I look at Near Protocol. I think there's like a 23% the last time I analyzed it. This is not a bad pullback. I got to be very honest with you. This is not a bad pullback. As long as price stays above $1.40, then you're looking at a project they could potentially push to around $1.90. Actually, this gives us a even more profits, but gotta wait. But yeah, man, I mean, this is just. Let me see, how many do we have right here? Actually, I should be able to see you right here. Damn. Gosh, let me see. Yeah, this is bad. Let me analyze. Palladium, let me see that. That might be good. Oh, this thing is a beast, though. This one is doing well. Should I do this? Yeah, look. This one right here, look, despite the big drop, this is an uptrend. I actually think this is an opportunity right here. As long as price, stays above this $1,350, like, this is good. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Holy smoke, this drop right here. What happened to this? But this looks really good. I'll be a buyer right here. A nice uptrend is intact. Look, price, man, this is a really beautiful candle right here. To me, this tells me the pullback is most likely coming to an end and we should see a move, back to these highs right here. But yeah, guys, look, crypto is just, It's painful. It is extremely, extremely. I'm gonna be very honest. It's not worth it. Don't trade it. If you're looking at crypto right now, you are you playing with fire. If you're pulling dollars in this stuff, you my friend. You are playing with fire. Look, I'm in a position right now, MicroStrategy, and I'm telling myself, why did I even bother? Because I bought something that was in a downtrend. Like my average is 172. I'm down about 10, 12% right now. It's just a small position because I'm trying to capture a bounce that maybe brings me back to around like this 21 weekly because I mean, look at MicroStrategy, guys. So I'm looking at strategy right now and I'm thinking, if we're not getting one right here, maybe we come back and get one around, $120, maybe $100. Right? I do think we are due for a rally. And the more I look at this daily, look, this is what we say bullish divergency, basically. Look at the MACD right here. Look at the RSI, not the prettiest, but as long as we stay above these lows right here, we are absolutely fine. And you go to the weekly, the weekly is extremely oversold. So I do think a big bounce is coming, and especially, look, once you get a dev cross, normally price comes back to retest the EMAs. If you go back to the last bear market, look, a dev cross right here, we had a big bounce right here. All right, this one was big. Came back to retest the moving average. That was a 70% bounce. So if I'm looking at strategy right now, look, if we go up and retest the 21 weekly, from these lows right here all the way up, look, you're looking at a 58% move. If we go up to the 50, you're looking at an 80% move. But I don't know if the bounce starts from somewhere around here or if we make our way down first, in the $120 range, or maybe maybe $100, and then get the bounce after. Like, I don't know how this is going to play out. All I know is, we are going to get a bounce, and best believe, guys, once we retest these EMAs on the weekly, I am shorting the head out of this thing because I think look, at this point, I think strategy is going below $100. Honestly, I think strategy, I don't want to say this, but chat, $60, $70. Look, I'm looking at this range right here and I am interested in it. Like, I am looking at, honestly, from like $80, work our way across. I think strategy comes down right here, guys. So I need a bounce first. And then I'm looking at a drop like this. Like, this is almost a 70. Yeah, this is bad. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream. Happy New Year. All right, Happy New Year 2026. It's just right around the corner. It's a couple hours from now. I'll see you guys.